Money is not a cold, lifeless object. It is a current, a living stream of energy that moves toward the open, the ready, and the expectant. Those who understand this truth never chase money, they call it. They stand still in the certainty that it belongs to them by divine right, and it comes. Not in trickles, but in waves. The secret is not hard work alone, nor clever schemes, nor restless striving. The secret is alignment, an inner agreement between your thought, your word, and your action. When your mind speaks abundance, your heart believes abundance, and your hands act as if abundance is already here, you become a magnet so strong that money must obey. Money flows where it feels safe, appreciated, and respected. If you hold fear about it, if you clutch at it, if you doubt its arrival, you block the stream. Imagine a river. If you dam it with worry and disbelief, the water cannot pass. But if you clear the channel with faith, gratitude, and generosity, the current moves freely and fills every dry place in your life. This understanding is not born from the outer world, it is an inner law. The moment you accept that your supply comes from an unlimited source, and that this source cannot fail, your days of lack are over. No person, no circumstance, no condition can keep from you what the divine has ordained for you. Say to yourself, I am the open door for wealth to pour through. Feel it as truth. Release every thought of how or when. Your part is to prepare the vessel, to expand your capacity to receive, to give without fear, and to keep your mind on the bounty that is already yours in spirit. Money will not come to the desperate, but it rushes to the confident. Not because the confident are luckier, but because they understand wealth is not earned in the soul through toil. It is accepted in the soul through belief. When the belief is firm, the manifestation is inevitable. If you wish the flow to begin, start where you are. Be faithful with what you have, speak abundance over every penny, and expect the tide to rise. Know that as you bless your money, more will come for you to bless. The stream never runs dry for the one who sees it as endless. And when you truly know this, money will no longer be something you pursue. It will be something that pursues you. Money is not a static object. It is not a pile of coins sitting somewhere waiting to be found, nor a stack of notes locked away in a vault. It is a living current, a vibrant stream of energy that responds to the consciousness of the one who calls it. It moves like water, like wind, like breath. It seeks pathways that are clear, unobstructed, and receptive. When the mind and heart are open, ready, and expectant, the current flows in naturally, almost without effort. Because the nature of money is movement. It is not meant to stagnate, it is meant to circulate, to pass from hand to hand, from heart to heart, enriching and blessing as it goes. This is why those who truly understand the nature of money do not chase it with frantic grasping. They stand in the certainty of its approach. They know that chasing often comes from fear, and fear creates resistance. But confident expectation is like opening the floodgates of a river that was always there, waiting to pour in. To grasp this, one must see money not only as a material tool, but as a symbol of exchange, of value recognized and given. Just as a stream will always seek the lowest, clearest channels to run through, money flows most easily toward those who make themselves ready to receive. This readiness is not a matter of greed or force. It is a state of mind. It is the quiet conviction that supply is limitless, and that you are in harmony with that supply. When you adopt this perspective, you stop wondering whether there is enough in the world. You begin to understand that the universe operates on a principle of plenty, and that your share is already designated for you. The current will find you when your inner state matches the frequency of receiving. Readiness is not something you fake. It cannot be pasted over with words while your heart is still trembling in fear. The current of money can sense contradiction the way water senses a barrier. If your outer voice says, I am abundant, but your inner voice whispers, I am not sure, the flow feels that and hesitates. True readiness means harmony between thought, belief, and emotion. It means preparing your life for the arrival of what you seek, arranging your affairs as if what you desire is already on its way, because it is. This is expectation in its highest form. Not wishful thinking, but confident knowing. The open mind welcomes ideas, opportunities, and connections. Because money often arrives through channels other than the ones we expect. If you decide that the only way you can receive is through one narrow door, you close yourself off to the infinite doors that could be opening for you. The ready mind says, I am willing for my good to come in any form, from any direction, without limitation. This willingness turns you into a wide, unobstructed channel, and like a stream that meets no obstacles, the current of money will flow to you swiftly. Expectation is the magnet in this process. When you expect something good, you act in ways that naturally draw it to you. You speak differently, you carry yourself differently. You even see the world differently. Your perception sharpens to notice opportunities you would have missed in a doubtful state. Expectation is not the same as daydreaming. It is grounded in faith. Faith says, it is already mine though unseen. Expectation says, I will prepare the table because the guest is on the way. Together, they create the perfect environment for money to appear and continue appearing. Those who have mastered this understanding do not panic when they have less in hand than they desire. They treat every coin, every note, every transaction with respect, knowing that what is honored increases. They understand that money responds to appreciation. To treat the money you have now with neglect or complaint is to tell the current that it is unwelcome, and the current will retreat. To treat it with gratitude is to signal that you are ready for more to flow in. This readiness does not depend on large amounts. It begins with how you handle the smallest amounts. The open heart is just as vital as the open mind. An open heart sees money as a tool for blessing, not a weapon of control. It delights in giving as much as in receiving, knowing that giving keeps the current moving. If you only wish to receive but never release, you create a dam in your own stream. But if you allow money to flow out with the same ease you allow it to flow in, the cycle remains unbroken, and the current grows stronger over time. This is why some people, even without vast wealth, always seem to have enough. They keep their channel open through generosity, and the universe rewards that openness with continual replenishment. It is also important to understand that the living current of money flows where it is trusted. If you are constantly doubting its presence, worrying about its absence, or fearing its future, you are sending out signals that money is not safe with you. Just as a bird will not return to a hand that has frightened it away, the current of money will hesitate to enter a space filled with distrust. But if you replace worry with calm assurance, if you hold steady even when appearances seem contrary, the current senses that it is welcome and will come again. The living nature of money means it responds to movement, to exchange, to flow. Those who understand this do not bury their talents, their skills, or their resources. They invest, they create, they circulate. They understand that the more life they put into the current, the more life the current returns to them. This does not always mean investing in financial markets. It can mean investing in yourself, in learning, in experiences, in relationships that open new doors. Every act that increases your value to the world widens your channel for the current to flow through. When you see money as a living current, your relationship with it changes completely. It ceases to be a fearful pursuit or a scarce resource. It becomes a trusted companion, a willing servant, a natural expression of the abundance that already exists around you. It comes to the open, the ready, the expectant, not because they are luckier or more privileged, but because they understand how to meet the current without resistance, how to make themselves a place where the flow feels at home, and how to keep their channel clear, so that the stream never runs dry. Alignment of thought, word, and action is the invisible architecture upon which abundance rests. It is the inner harmony that creates an undeniable pull, a magnetic force that draws money, opportunities, and prosperity into one's life. Without alignment, the signal you send to the world is scattered, inconsistent, and weak. With alignment, the signal is clear, strong, and irresistible. Thoughts are the blueprint. Words are the proclamation, and actions are the evidence. When all three say the same thing, when all three point toward abundance without contradiction, the universe responds as though a command has been given. A thought is the seed from which every outward manifestation grows. If your thoughts about money are filled with fear, doubt, or resentment, that seed is weak and unhealthy. If your thoughts are filled with confidence, appreciation, and trust, that seed is strong and fertile. Thoughts set the tone for everything else. Because what you dwell on shapes what you believe, and what you believe shapes what you expect. To align your thoughts with abundance means to deliberately choose mental pictures of wealth, to imagine yourself in possession of all that you desire, to feel the security and freedom that comes with it as if it were already present. This is not self-deception. It is self-direction, a way of instructing your mind on where to focus its immense creative power. Words are the bridge between thought and form. They carry the vibration of your inner state into the outer world. When you speak words of lack, you reinforce lack in your own subconscious and in the energy you project. Saying, "I can't afford this. Money never stays with me." Or, "I'm always struggling," is like planting weeds among your carefully nurtured seeds. But when you speak words of abundance, such as, "I always have more than enough. Money comes to me easily and often," or, "Everything I need is provided," you strengthen the bridge between the thought and its manifestation. Words are powerful because they are declarations, and declarations set the course of events. Even in moments when appearances contradict your words, your consistent speech becomes a lighthouse for your reality to follow. Action is the physical proof of your belief. If you think and speak abundance but act in ways that deny it, you break the alignment. For example, someone who says they believe in wealth, but consistently avoids opportunities, spends recklessly without vision, or refuses to invest in themselves, is acting out of a belief in scarcity. True alignment means that your choices, habits, and behaviors all reinforce the story of abundance you are telling yourself and the world. It means you make decisions from a place of trust rather than fear. You take inspired steps toward your goals, and you conduct your financial affairs with both responsibility and confidence. When thought, word, and action are out of harmony, the results are slow, inconsistent, or non-existent. A person might think positively about money, but speak negatively about it to others, and this contradiction dilutes the energy. Or they might think and speak positively, but take no action toward improvement, expecting things to simply fall into their lap without their participation. The current of abundance responds best to clarity, and clarity is born from unity. When all parts of you agree, you are no longer sending mixed messages to the universe. This unity creates what feels like a gravitational pull. Opportunities begin to show up without force or strain. People seem to arrive at the right time to help you. Solutions present themselves almost as if they had been waiting for you to become ready. The truth is they were there all along. But without alignment you could not see or receive them. Alignment sharpens your awareness, increases your confidence, and amplifies your ability to recognize the steps that lead to greater wealth. This magnetic pull is not about manipulation or luck, it is about resonance. Just as a tuning fork will cause another fork of the same frequency to vibrate, your aligned state will attract the circumstances, resources, and relationships that match your inner pattern. Money flows toward clarity and confidence, because both are signals of safety and stability. A misaligned person radiates uncertainty, which repels opportunities. An aligned person radiates certainty, which draws them in. One of the most overlooked aspects of alignment is integrity. Acting in alignment means honoring your word, keeping promises to yourself and others, and maintaining a standard of truthfulness in your dealings. Abundance thrives in environments of trust. If you say one thing and do another, you not only disrupt your alignment, but also erode the trust others might place in you. Trust is a currency that often precedes financial currency. When people feel they can rely on you, they are more likely to invest in you, buy from you, hire you, or recommend you. Another important aspect is emotional alignment. You can think, speak, and act as if you believe in abundance, but if underneath you are still anxious, bitter, or resentful about money, the emotional current will outweigh the others. Feelings are magnetic. They can either reinforce or undermine the message you send. This is why it is important to clear emotional blocks, forgive past financial mistakes, and release envy toward others who have what you desire. When your emotions are as clear and confident as your thoughts, words, and actions, the alignment becomes unshakable. A powerful way to strengthen alignment is through consistency. This means maintaining the same high standard of thought, word, and action regardless of circumstances. Many people can speak positively when the money is flowing, but they falter when challenges arise. True alignment remains steady even when appearances suggest scarcity, because it is rooted in faith, not in temporary conditions. The more consistent you are, the more predictable and reliable the flow of abundance becomes. Alignment also requires self-awareness. You must be able to observe when you are out of sync and correct it quickly. This may mean catching a negative statement as it leaves your lips and replacing it with a positive one, or noticing when fear-based thinking creeps in and shifting your focus back to trust. It may mean recognizing when procrastination or self-sabotage is stopping you from taking inspired action and choosing to move forward anyway. Every moment of awareness is a moment of power, and power is what sustains the flow of abundance. Living in alignment with thought, word, and action is not about perfection. It is about persistence. Even if you slip, even if you find yourself temporarily in conflict with your highest vision, you can realign. Each time you do, you strengthen the habit of unity. Over time, it becomes second nature to think in prosperous terms, speak with confidence, and act with intention. When this happens, you no longer have to force the flow of money. You simply live in a way that naturally invites it in, again and again. Without resistance or struggle, fear and doubt are like shadows cast across the river of abundance, slowing its movement, and sometimes stopping it entirely. The flow of money is sensitive to the energy you project, and fear sends a clear signal of mistrust. Doubt whispers that the supply is not certain, that it might fail, that something could go wrong. And the moment you entertain those thoughts, you create an invisible barrier that holds back what is already making its way toward you. Money, like any form of energy, responds to the environment you create for it. If that environment feels unsafe, unstable, or unwelcoming, the flow will divert elsewhere, seeking channels where it can move freely without obstruction. Fear about money often comes from past experiences, losses, disappointments, or times when resources seemed scarce. These memories plant seeds of anxiety that grow into caution, hesitation, or even resistance to opportunities that could bring greater prosperity. Doubt often springs from comparing yourself to others, from believing that wealth is for some people but not for you, from thinking that you have to struggle for every bit of progress. Both fear and doubt are illusions, but they are illusions that feel heavy, and in that heaviness, they slow the current. Faith is the antidote to fear, gratitude the cure for doubt. Faith says that the source of your supply is infinite and cannot fail, that no circumstance, no person, no event has the power to cut you off from it unless you allow it. Gratitude says that what you have now is already a sign of the flow, that the smallest coin is proof of movement, that by honoring the little, you prepare yourself for the much. These two, faith and gratitude, clear the channel like sunlight burning away mist, making space for the flow to move easily again. Generosity is another great opener of the flow. To give when fear tells you to hold back is an act of trust so powerful that it breaks through the tightest knots of resistance. When you give freely, not recklessly, but with joy, you affirm that you believe in replenishment. You declare that money is a river, not a reservoir, and that by releasing some of what you have, you make space for more to come. This movement keeps the current alive. Those who hoard from fear often find that their resources dwindle, while those who circulate with confidence discover that the stream seems to renew itself endlessly. Fear and doubt are not only mental states, they manifest in subtle behaviors that quietly block abundance. You may delay making decisions, refusing to act on opportunities because you need more certainty. You may underprice your work, afraid that charging what you are worth will drive people away. You may avoid investing in tools, education, or connections that would expand your earning potential, because you doubt the return. Each of these is a signal to the universe that you do not fully trust the flow. The universe responds accordingly, reflecting back the same hesitation you project. Faith, on the other hand, expresses itself in confident action. You still move wisely, but you do not let fear be your guide. You accept opportunities that feel aligned. even if you cannot see the entire path. You speak about your future as though it is secure, because you know it is. You take care of what you have, not from fear of losing it, but from respect for the role it plays in the greater stream of your life. In this way, your behavior becomes a mirror of your belief, and your belief becomes stronger each time the flow proves itself faithful. Gratitude transforms your perception of what you have right now. Instead of focusing on what is missing, you focus on what is present, and in doing so, you expand your awareness of abundance. It is impossible to be deeply grateful and deeply afraid at the same time. Gratitude shifts you into a receptive state, where you notice and appreciate even the small signs of provision. These small signs are like droplets announcing the coming rain. The more you acknowledge them, the more they multiply. Generosity, too, changes your relationship with money. When you release it without fear, you participate in the universal law of circulation. What you send out returns to you, often multiplied, because the act of giving is both a signal and an invitation. You show the flow that you are not a stagnant pool, but a living part of the greater river, and the river responds by sending more through your hands. This is not about giving beyond your means or sacrificing your own well-being. It is about letting go with joy, knowing that the very act of release strengthens your connection to the source. The truth is that money is always seeking to move toward you. The only thing that stops it is resistance in the form of fear and doubt. These emotions narrow the channel through which abundance flows. They cause you to cling tightly to what you have, creating tension and constriction. Faith, gratitude, and generosity work together to widen that channel. Faith relaxes your grip, gratitude fills your heart, and generosity keeps the movement alive. Releasing fear is not about pretending it doesn't exist. It is about replacing it with something stronger. Each time you choose to act from faith rather than fear, you weaken fear's hold on you. Each time you express gratitude for what you have instead of complaining about what you lack, you shift your focus from scarcity to abundance. Each time you give freely despite the whisper of doubt, you prove to yourself that the flow is real, that it is safe to trust it, that it will always return. Doubt thrives in the absence of evidence, but the more you practice faith, gratitude, and generosity, the more evidence you gather that the current is trustworthy. Over time, your confidence grows, and fear loses its power. You begin to see that what you thought were delays or denials were simply moments of preparation, that the flow was arranging itself in the best possible way to meet your needs. In this realization, the last traces of doubt begin to dissolve, and the river moves swiftly once again. Wealth begins in the mind long before it appears in the hand, and its arrival is not a reward for desperation but the natural result of belief. Desperation speaks to lack, to grasping, to the anxious need that clings tightly for fear of losing. Belief speaks to certainty, to calm expectation, to the quiet knowing that what you seek is already yours in essence, and will show itself in form. When the soul is convinced of its abundance, the body and the life follow that conviction. It is not striving that opens the gates of prosperity, but acceptance. Acceptance that you are already connected to an infinite source that cannot run dry. Those who chase wealth out of desperation often run in circles, exhausting themselves with effort, while never seeming to draw closer to their goal. This is because desperation carries the vibration of lack. It focuses entirely on what is missing, and in doing so, it magnifies that absence. It looks to the outer world for proof before it can feel at peace. But the outer world is only a mirror of the inner state. If the inner state is rooted in need, the reflection will show more need. Belief reverses this pattern. It begins with the inner certainty that the supply is already flowing, whether or not it can yet be seen. This certainty imprints itself on thought, word, and action, and the outer world eventually adjusts to match it. Belief does not beg, it declares. It does not hope with uncertainty, it knows with quiet strength. When you truly believe that wealth belongs to you by divine right, you no longer look for it with the eyes of a beggar, but with the vision of an heir. You walk as if the supply is inevitable, as if the path is already paved, as if every step you take is towards something guaranteed. This posture of belief alters how you think, how you speak, and how you move through the world. It removes hesitation, for there is no need to hesitate when the outcome is assured. Desperation, on the other hand, produces frantic action. It makes decisions from a place of fear. Fear of missing out, fear of running out, fear of never having enough. Such decisions rarely lead to lasting prosperity, because they are rooted in instability. The mind in desperation grasps at every passing opportunity without discernment, spreads itself thin, and often chooses short-term gains at the expense of long-term growth. Belief produces a different kind of action. Calm, deliberate, and inspired. It is willing to wait when waiting is wise, to act when action is called for, and to walk away when something does not align with its vision. Wealth accepted through belief feels effortless not because no work is done, but because the work is guided by confidence, instead of anxiety. The one who believes is not in constant struggle against the fear of failure. They are in cooperation with the flow of abundance. They know that ideas, opportunities, and resources will appear in perfect sequence. They trust that even apparent setbacks are simply redirections toward something better. This trust allows them to move steadily, conserving their energy for actions that truly matter. Belief is not blind. It is not ignoring reality, it is shaping reality by holding to a higher truth. The truth is that the universe operates by laws of increase and multiplication, that there is more than enough for all, and that you are a rightful participant in that abundance. When you hold this truth firmly, temporary appearances of lack cannot sway you. You may acknowledge them, but you do not adopt them as your story. You speak of your life in terms of the wealth you know is yours, and you act in ways that prepare for its arrival. The process of accepting wealth through belief is like preparing a guest room for a dear friend you know is coming. You make the space ready, you anticipate the joy of their company, and you trust their arrival without needing to stand at the door in constant worry. You go about your life, confident that the moment will come when they step inside. Similarly, you make room for prosperity in your life, mentally, emotionally, and even physically. You remove the clutter of doubt from your thoughts, the debris of fear from your heart, and the habits of scarcity from your actions. You create space where wealth can feel at home. There is a deep ease in living this way. Instead of chasing opportunities from a place of hunger, you attract them by radiating readiness. People are drawn to work with those who exude confidence and stability, because they feel safe in that energy. Money moves toward those who make it welcome, and belief is the welcome mat you lay out for it.